Are you a black writer who is really into politics and you're looking for a space to promote your work and to have a platform for it? Well, today we will be speaking with Reginald from Black Lives, Black Words, and we'll be getting into what his platform does. Coming up. What is up, guys? It's Antoine here once again from Mad Talk. Mad Talk is all about showing how entrepreneurs and creatives are making a difference in their everyday world. And today we will be continuing on with a series that we have about Black entrepreneurs and Black creatives. This is something that we're doing in the month of February, but it's something that will always be reoccurring on this channel because our efforts is to give a space, give a platform to BIPOC creators and entrepreneurs. Without further ado, today we're going to be speaking with Reginald, and we're going to be really getting into more of what his company does, what does he do, and just showing all the opportunities that there is out there, especially in the political realm for Black voices to be heard. But to not really get into, too much in the weeds here, Reginald, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Not a problem. And it's really interesting what it is that you do. And I think you, by being an entrepreneur, you're a producer, you're a playwright. There's so many hats that you hold, especially with the company that you have. I just really want to just dive right in and just talk about a little bit about like your backstory. How did you get to the point you are now?
Yeah. I guess it all starts. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and in Houston, Texas, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for skinny black playwrights. I mean, skinny black guys with glasses, and at the time, I had dreadlocks, but genetics is not my friend. Um,
We all been there, man. We all been
and so I was going around trying to get into the acting scene and the theater scene, and you had basically in the city of Houston at the time you had the big houses, and then you had the smaller theaters where you had one main black theater in the town, and then you had a whole bunch of people trying to do some Tyler Perry-ish stuff, um, and one day this hot-blooded teen kid. And I go into an audition, and in the middle of the audition, I basically say that this play is shit, and that I could write better. And the lady who ran that theater, she pulled me aside and she was like, one, don't ever say that about somebody's writing because people put their heart and soul into that craft. Two, if you think you can write better, well, then go home and prove it. So I was like, all right, lady, I'll show you. And so I go home and I sit down, I lock myself away for like 2 weeks, and I come back with a script, boom. And so she was like, all right, well, now you got to cast it, direct it, produce it, set up the lighting, market it, the whole nine yards. So I got thrown into the fire. That was my big training ground in the city of Houston, Texas, at the Silver House Theater. I owe so much to a lady named Miss Marie. And then fast forward, 2014, there was so many deaths of people such as Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, the list goes on and on and on. And I wanted to do something. I felt like there wasn't an opportunity for Black writers to speak on the various issues that were going on within our very own communities. A painter can paint, a poet can stand on some street corner and do their thing, but there wasn't really an opportunity for Black writers to speak in the immediately with urgency to the issues that were taking place around them. And so I founded Black Lives, Black Words with my co-founder, Samilia Hodge Dalloway. And basically, We went around to various different cities. We started off in Chicago. We started off finding the various different Black playwrights within those various communities. We posed to them the question of, hey, do Black Lives Matter? Speak on it. And the project exploded out. And so from there, we started doing these international showcases of short 10-minute plays, going to various different cities all across the globe. Really set out to uplift and promote Black writers from around the globe and their narratives speaking on their communities. And these showcases will now, we've served over, we've brought in over 160 writers, gone to 2 continents, 3 countries, 9 cities from around the globe. Then when the pandemic hit, everything went silent in the world of Black theater, well, in the world of theater, point blank period, and film as well. And so we were trying to find something to ignite the community and provide an opportunity for writers to get going. So we created this thing called Films for the People. And that is basically hybrid films that blur the line between film and theater. That's where we are now. Yeah.
And that's incredible, man. And just to hear about your story and just to hear about all the opportunities that you're trying to bring. Again, guys, all of his information, his website, his social media is going to be in the description box. Definitely go check it out. Definitely go and support because there's not a lot of platforms for Black artists, for Black writers, for Black filmmakers that they should be. And again, even here with Creator Source Studios with Mad Talk, we want to provide and foster that type of community at all times. So I would say, what has been your biggest hurdle when starting all of this? Because I know everyone
Yeah.
has their pain points, everyone has their story. Where does yours come from?
Yeah, I think well, there's 2 things. You know, one, I think being a grassroots theater organization, it was difficult for us to gain the funding that we needed. Everybody wanted to do stuff, wanted to do it wanted us to come into their spaces for free, but we wanted to be able to provide income for the very multiple artists that we bring forward, and also just just build on our own work, you know. So that was one thing that was definitely a struggle. And then I think also the fact that um, people underestimate um, Black artistry, and so it was very important for us to push that we were putting forward high quality, high caliber, exciting work into the community, that we're speaking on the very issues that were taking place within our community, and that you know, we're putting forward a revolution on these stages. And so that was something that was difficult to put forward, but once we got the traction going, people understood the mission, and they started supporting us.
And I think that's honestly how all of these type of projects or these type of, initiatives get off the ground. It all starts with support and it all starts with
Mm-hmm.
your audience and building your audience. What would you tell our, the individuals that are watching this, the filmmakers, the writers, the creators, how where to start when you want to build an audience? Like when you want to
Yeah,
build a following and get people behind what you're doing and have behind the impact that you want to bring, how do you do that?
yeah. I think it all starts by wanting. If you have the true desire to speak for the community will respond. And I think there's a lot of people get confused and they think, oh, I just need to write something that's that people will want to see or whatever. But you you as Black artists, we as Black artists, we have a responsibility and a duty to speak to the community about the things that are taking place within our community and really actively engaging them. And so once you actively engage that audience, once they see that, oh, I need to hear this story, I need to experience this narrative. Uh, so much doors open up for you as an artist and as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yes, and it's one of those things where it's all about understanding what the need of the community are, like what
Mm,
needs need to be in there, what needs to be talked about, what needs to be, established and discussed. Um,
yeah.
and I guarantee when you do these events, you probably get a lot of like audience members, a lot of people who are just observers that are giving
Mm,
you ideas. And I think that that's something that happens a lot of times, especially with minorities. Whenever we're trying to start certain projects, things like that, you'll get a plethora of ideas from, all around the
mm,
area, even people who are not your particular audience or not your intended audience, you will
yeah.
still receive like feedback from them. How
Mm,
would you suggest to sift through what is being told to you on like what you should be doing with your project?
yeah. I always give. Uh, I do a lot of teaching sometimes to writers, and so one of the things that I teach them is to write down uh, two things that's important to them personally, three things that's going on within the community, that's either on the local or the national or the international level that's important to them, and then write down five things that they feel needs to be spoken about, just point blank period, and then shift through those. And if anything doesn't fit into that category, those categories, um, then those aren't the stories that you need to be telling.
Of course. And like I would really love for you to elaborate even more on that, on what we just spoke about, because I think honestly what you just gave everyone here is I guess a list of what to do when you're brainstorming. But
Mm-hmm.
what else would you add to that? Like, because I know that writer's block is a big thing, and it happens, with everyone. It could happen with you just writing a script, you writing a
Yeah.
book, you writing anything. How do you break through that writer's block, and how do you become more effective with your brainstorming?
Yeah, I think part of it is um, one, you just got to sit down. Sometimes stillness is the way to do it. And you just got to sit down and just let the ancestors speak to you. And you never know what that type of narrative they're going to be pushing forward to you. And you just got to let those voices speak and push you forward. There's no right way to just kick out of a brain freeze when it comes down to creativity. Um, One of my mentors, a writer named Jose Rivera, he once said that if you have writer's block, that's just the God's way of keeping you from writing something stupid. So I think that's just, I think you just got to sit down and let the shift through the things that are important to you. And then from there, just let the ancestors speak to you, and you're going to have something that's hot. I guarantee it.
Of course. And, just having that stillness. And I think that that happens, it's hard when you're
Yeah.
a content creator, especially
Mm-hmm.
to have that
Mm-hmm.
stillness, because content creation, especially on things like TikTok, IG Reels, is very bubblegum type of content that you're
Yeah.
doing, where
Yeah.
you're chewing it and it's like all so flavorful, and then you have to spit it out because it doesn't last that long. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, what what would you say to a content creator who are saying like, hey, I want to write like 10, 15 articles a week just
Mm-hmm.
so that we can really get like, the things going, or, oh, I want to do TikToks multiple times. I know that that's not really the realm of everything,
Mm-hmm.
but just mindset wise, how should they be thinking in your opinion? How should they be thinking during that?
I think it's just a matter of uh, writing or putting out the things that's important to you, that is have an impact upon your community, and just really have a deep understanding of like who you are and where you come from. And I think those things will always help guide somebody towards success. Um, I'm usually more of a someone who teaches writers how to be a writer. Um, it's a different kind of world, you know, than the TikTok and the other things. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think in any content creator that's black in America or the world really just needs to really think about what's the mission, what does the community need, um, and then go from there, and that always leads to success.
Of course, of course. And community needs is something that I feel like a lot of creators aren't really thinking about when
Mm-hmm.
they're creating their content, when they're producing their stuff. I would say a great example of community needs is when you really think about the Harlem Renaissance and you
Yeah.
really think about like Langston Hughes, a lot of those writers back then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more their art and their poetry and their stories was more about the struggles they were going through
Yeah.
at the time. I think
Yeah.
I think for us, especially millennials and Gen Zers and things like that, we don't feel like we're in that struggle that they were
Mm-hmm.
in back
Mm-hmm.
in the early part of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
We don't feel like we're in that type of struggle anymore, so we don't know how to exhibit the same type of powerful content. But I think going back to what you were saying about community needs, and then also going to what you were saying about doing things that resonate in you,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be like the kicker there. That's going to be where that sweet spot is, because I feel like everyone has a story to tell,
Exactly.
has a perspective to put out, and I think that we're so accustomed, I think, to hearing more outlandish type of stories and
Mm-hmm.
outlandish perspectives, that we feel like our perspective, just because if you even grew up in like suburbia, or if you grew up in, more of a rural area, you don't feel like you have anything to contribute to the struggles that African Americans go through,
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. But
So,
I would say history repeats itself. And so the
mhm,
same struggles that our ancestors like Langston Hughes and Audre Lorde and so many other amazing Zora Neale Hurston and so many other great writers have experienced. Those exact same struggles are circling right back around just right now into our political landscape. And so I'm an arts activist, you know, so I use the art to spark revolution in whatever way that might be for the community. And
mhm,
so uh, I always want to encourage our whoever's putting pen to paper, whoever's creating content for the audiences, whether regardless of whether it's just a comedic bit or just a little silly sketch or whatever else, you can still put in some political messaging inside of it that hits hard and makes an impact on the way that we view the world, you know. And
mhm,
that's, I think, writers, we come from a rich tradition all the way back to Africa from the griots. Um, and the griots, they served as um, not just storytellers, but they also kept the legacy going of their communities. And that's what I want to challenge any creative to do, is to be griots, you know, be both preacher, politician, and prophet to your communities, you know,
mhm.
and you'll be really, really surprised about what kind of content uh, comes out when you really think about what are the various issues that are taking place in your community and in your home that needs to be spoken about. And you'll be surprised about how many people really truly respond to the work that you're putting forward.
That's incredible. That's exactly what I feel we need to be focusing on. We need to focus on those Black voices speaking about things like business, speaking about things like
Mm,
politics, speaking about things like, everyday struggles and
yeah.
mental health. Mental health is a big
Hmm.
one that you don't really see a lot. And that's something that our company is actually working on, is a Black mental health documentary series that will be coming out um, in the next, I want to say, few months, because we're still working on things. So
Mm.
definitely be on the lookout for that, guys, because that's going to be definitely a powerful series, where we really get into mental health and its effects on the Black community. Um, and not to really switch gears, but to get a little bit deeper, with Black Lives, Black Words, what would you say was the big moment for you where you knew that this was going to be something that was going to be bigger than yourself?
Yeah, I think that, there's two moments for us, really, well,
Mm-hmm.
three, that I really want to speak on. So, first was our first initial event, where we partnered with theater organizations such as Congo Square, Impact, and Black Ensemble Theater to help create this event. And the line for this event wrapped around the building. Uh, I think that was something that told me we're doing something that's powerful. And then I think another moment for us was the I Am Fest, which we did at the Goodman Theater in Chicago. It was a 3 day celebration of women of color in arts, activism, and leadership. And we closed out with our Black Lives, Black Words showcase, which was written and directed entirely by Black women. And then we closed out by putting 100 women on the Goodman Theater stage performing the transcript of Sandra Bland's arrest. Um, so how the audience responded to that, that was created by Majisala Adebayo in London. And how the audience responded to that was spectacular. And then shifting gears to um, our film hybrids work that we're doing, I created a piece called Black Lives, called Rideshare. And basically, it was just a hybrid play that we wanted to do via Zoom, which we then later created in partnership with Writers Theater as a full featured film. And that gaining the traction of the Wall Street Journal, in which they called it the most exciting, electrifying events of the 2022. Um, uh, that really made an impact on who we are as artists and what we're trying to do to make an impact in this community.
It's so wonderful to hear more about an organization that are doing these big things, because you're not just here in the United States, you're also international, Canada and places like that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like, just to even think about your organization going from like the humble beginnings to now, and it's still growing and it's still building.
Mm.
um for me, that's great motivation, and I think that that should be motivation for anyone who is looking to start something or looking to get started, because I guarantee you didn't think this was going to be something that was going to be going international, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
um and I think that at the end of the day, again, at the end of the day, it's one of these things of, when you go after what you're passionate about, go after what you love, go after what speaks to you. Like you've said throughout this, throughout our talk today, about listening to the ancestors, listening to
Mm.
what they're saying, and then going and taking that and using that as the passion and as the fuel that pushes your project, that builds your projects. um what would you say are ways for us to get a little bit closer to that? Because I know for some people, they're like, I want to listen to what my ancestors might be saying, or I want to listen to what was happening before, to fuel me,
Mm.
to give me that opportunity. How would you suggest someone would go about doing that?
I think um, it's important that one, we as artists are aware of uh, the works of artists that have gone before us, I think it's important that we also know our history and
Hmm.
we study what politics is happening around us, and we're culturally and aware of where we are and what this time period is. Uh, and then I think most importantly is just having an understanding of that if you're if you're a content creator, if you are an artist, um, that what you're doing is sacred. And when you start walking with a purpose inside of you, knowing that what you're doing is important, you know, um, and that it helps make an impact in somebody's life that's not you, um, the doors really start opening in exciting ways that you never even realized.
Exactly. And it goes back again to community needs. It goes
Yeah.
back to that of understanding what kind of projects are going to help your community, what kind of projects are going to spot a light onto problems that are in the community as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as a producer, as a black producer, just and as a black filmmaker, especially with your film division that you've created, what would you say is something that gives you I want to say motivation, that gives you power behind what you do? Because I know that there's a lot of up and coming black producers now,
Mm-hmm.
like a great example of that is Abbott Elementary and just the story of how that got started.
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah.
do you feel like where does that motivation come for you? Like, do you feel that motivation comes from seeing individuals like, with Abbott Elementary, or, Keenan Pill and everything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Does that ever, pushes you more motivation wise?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, those being able to pull from those examples of people who are really out there doing it is
Mm-hmm.
something that's really inspiring. But um, um, now I've been blessed with twin girls, and
Mm-hmm.
so I want to create a world for them that's really exciting to them, that they can build on and say, hey, uh, we are Black excellence, you know? And so I want to make sure that they know that their father um, worked diligently to make an impact, to 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 help shift the world into a better place for them, you know, and build a legacy for them. So I'm really trying to, honor the ancestors, but also um, give make sure that my daughters know that they come from a community and from a people who have done amazing things, and encourage them to do amazing things in their life so that they can continue that tradition, you know.
And that's powerful. That's powerful because as a black creator, as a black artist, you have to realize what you create
Yeah.
is not just about everyone right now, it's about generationally.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally feel like a lot of, minorities, we feel that way. We feel like what we do has to be something that is passed down through, generations and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Because for a lot of black people, that's how a lot of things have been passed down, like even recipes. That's
Yeah.
something that's been passed down generationally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that into account, do you feel like us as black artists, black creators, black writers, just, black creatives in general, do you feel like we have sort of an obligation or a responsibility to make sure that what we're doing is going to be something that is impactful enough that is going to inspire others?
uh, I do. I honestly do feel that we have a responsibility and a duty
Hmm.
to uplift our communities, and to really be create something that's going to make an impact. Um, I think about writers like Toni Morrison and like August Wilson and Lorraine Hansberry. All of them, they might not have originally set out um, to make a lasting impact, but it's there, and I think the more determined we are as artists to make something that's lasting, that has a lasting footprint, a lasting impact on the artistic landscape of the country and of the globe, uh, the more determined we have determination inside of that, the more likely we are to achieve it.
I agree. I agree. But yeah, you made such a great point with just understanding the responsibilities that we have. And especially when we need to use our own talents for good. And I know I don't want to make things religious. I know everyone's not religious, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, I've always had an understanding that God has given everyone gifts. Everyone has a gift. It's just
Yeah.
the meaning around life is just finding what that gift is and using it to serve others and using it to be impactful in your world. And I think as a Black creator, as a Black artist, that is a big responsibility for us. If we found this gift that we have, there's no reason why we shouldn't use it to help others
Mm-hmm.
and to get more awareness on things, regardless of what it is. I think that we all have that responsibility. But that being said, what I am going to go into is one of my favorite parts of these interviews is doing our 2 minute pitch segment. In this 2 minute segment, we give our guests just 2 minutes to talk about whatever they want to promote, what they're doing in their organization, even give us even more information about their organization. And what I do is I put 2 minutes on the clock. So give me
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Right. Got 2 minutes on the clock right there.
All right.
Starting now.
All right. So I think I want to say that one, you can give your support to Black Lives Black Words by going to BLBW or blacklivesblackwords.org. There we have a bookstore in which you can purchase books and plays from various different Black writers from across the globe. On top of that, we have some awesome hoodies and t-shirts that you can grab while you're there. And then also, currently, we're working on this project called Films for the People, in which we're bringing in Black filmmakers and Black playwrights working inside of Black businesses to create monologue films. And so be on the lookout for that. Our first one is written by Kat Brooks. It's called Bottled Spirits. It'll be coming out very, very soon. And we'll have announcements of that on our website and on our social media. So please feel free to check it out.
Wow. You actually beat it, man. It's 50, 55 seconds. Okay, you beat it. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do like a Hall of Fame for everybody that has beaten the pitch segment because some people don't. So yeah, you have 56 seconds. I like that. I like that. But overall, it's been such a pleasure to have you here today, Reginald. And
Likewise, man.
and my question, well, not really my question, but what I am going to pass off to you and I'm gonna give you the opportunity to do is that anytime we have a guest here, we want them to come up with the question of the day for our audience. So,
Mm.
Reginald, what is your question of the day for our audience?
I think for me, my question for the day would be, what does activism look like to you? I'm going to leave the audience with that.
Yes, because if I start voicing my opinions on that, we're gonna be here for another 2 hours. Especially we're gonna be here for another 2 hours, guys. And that'll be a podcast episode at that point. So Anyway, it's been such a pleasure to have you here, Reginald, again. I truly thank you for that. I truly thank you for being a part of this series and of our initiative here with trying to promote as many BIPOC, as many Black creators as possible, as many Black entrepreneurs as possible, because they are out there, they are doing great things, and it's our responsibility to really give them that opportunity to promote what they do. But other than that, I would like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on all your social medias, especially if you found value from this video. And other than that, I would like to thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care.